Hello and welcome to this free computing guide on how to speed up your computer and keeping it running at new speeds, optimal speeds really. You might be able to increase the performance of a new computer as well if you're just looking for a good amount of speed. Now first off, I'd just like to say that I've forgotten what I was just about to say. That no matter how old a computer is, maybe 30 years old, maybe 20, maybe 10 years old, the performance can still be improved. Although if you've got a 30 or 20-year-old computer, it's probably need replacing sometime soon anyway. But if you are looking to get just that extra bit of performance from your computer, this is probably the perfect place to be. Now, if you don't know about the free computing general use guide, it's a really little handy guide I've put together. I'll put a link in the description below just in case you don't already know about it. So the first thing you'll want to know about to speed up your computer, in fact no, you can go ahead and read all this if you really want to know all this, because I can't really dedust my computer and I can't really install an SSD on it or anything like that. So the first thing we'll be looking at is the clearing background clutter. What you'll want to do first off is open the task manager. You can also press Ctrl Shift and Escape. Go over to Startup. So you want to be in the task manager and find the Startup tab. Now from here you can have a look at all the different applications that will start up, that will run as soon as your computer starts up and boots up. The first one I've got here is AVG, Internet Security. I want to keep that enabled because, well, obviously it'd be very silly to have it off because we want that on to stop viruses. Evolve Client. Now, Evolve Client I'd rarely ever use, but I will be using it in the future. So I'll disable it. It's already disabled, but you right click it and click Disable on it. If it's an application that you don't want to have when the computer starts up, because it'll take up space on the computer while it's running and it'll also increase the boot times. So what you are basically looking for is programs that you do not want to have on the computer on startup. You may want to keep the programs themselves, that's fine. This won't uninstall them, but it will just stop them running from startup. So the Evolve client I never really use, but I will want to use it in the future. I don't want to so because I never use it, I don't want it to be there on startup, so I'll disable it. I'll right click and disable it. Flux, I know what that is. It's it dims the screen with the outside, with the sunlight. So if it's dark outside, the screen will go a bit darker, a bit dimmer, and it'll help you get to sleep at night. Microsoft OneDrive, I assume, is like a cloud. It has no startup impact, so I might as well enable it. But I'm not too sure. Excuse me. I'm not too sure exactly what it is, so I'll leave that disabled. It might take up space on my processing power and stuff, so I'll keep it disabled. This is from the publisher ABG. I'll keep that enabled. Now, if you don't know what something is, I know what that is because I know what Raptor is. But if you don't know what something is, don't just click disable. What you want to do is open up internet and then Google, what is plays.tv or whatever. Now you can, customize all of this, but something like this application made me a bit suspicious when I first saw it. Firstly, because there's no icon. If you see, most of these have icons. There's also no publisher. And the startup impact is not measured. Now this should make really anybody suspicious, so I googled it and it's part of AVG. Somebody out there might be thinking, yeah, well, it says vProtect, so it's obviously antivirus or something to that effect. Well, that's not necessarily true, because it could be a virus posing as antivirus to try and make you not disable it, but it is antivirus. I was just very suspicious of the no icon, no publisher, startup effect not measured. So once you've done that, it's now time to clean up your PC. So you've got to spell it right, and you've got to spell cleanup. This will automatically come up. If you're on Windows 7, Windows Vista, and possibly Windows 8, you can also just type in, and Windows 10 apparently, you can also just type in disk or disk cleanup and it will come up. But if you type in cleanup, guaranteed it should come up. Now what you want to be looking, you could delete all of this if you really wanted to. You'll mainly want to be deleting the temporary, the downloaded program files. I don't think that's not just things that you've downloaded in general. I think it's another temporary folder, but I'm not quite certain on that. But tick it if you're, untick it if you're not too sure. If you untick it if you would rather not take any sort of risk. There's no big risk. I mean, everything here can be updated automatically. You don't need to do anything about it. This is just for extra space. I'd also look for things that are in the gigabytes or over 100 megabytes. Mainly because that's a fair amount of space to be taken up in the in this section, in the gigabytes or hundreds of megabytes. So definitely I want to be doing my temporary internet files, the recycling bin, and the normal temporary files. Also thumbnails, because I don't really need them. All of this data that you delete, like the temporary files, if you're on an older computer, this may take up in the gigabytes. It may take up in the gigabytes if you've never removed any of these before. So you'll definitely want to be removing them. The internet files, the temporary files, are basically when you're browsing things on your computer. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cough here. When you're browsing things on your computer, the web page will save stuff to the computer. Just so next time you go on that site, it's just easier to kind of maneuver around on it and stuff like that. But a lot of the time it's mainly older sites that you might have been on once or twice, and you've saved something to your computer, so it's easy to access for the next time, but you're never going to use them again, so there's no point having them on the computer. So you want to tick that, make sure it's ticked, make sure the internet files in the recycling bin are ticked. It might be worth checking what's in your recycling bin, just in case there's something you want to keep. So we delete the files, press OK and delete. This will take a good second or two to delete. Well, maybe not a second, maybe a few minutes. See, that's all done. So after we've done this, we want to be uninstalling a program. Now we can do this two ways. We can just simply search for uninstall a program, uninstall or change a program, or we can go to the control panel, programs, and then uninstall a program. Now here you'll just see a big list of all the programs that are installed, and you can double click them or right click and uninstall them. And you can just uninstall whatever. You can only uninstall one thing at a time though. If you try to uninstall more than one thing at a time, it just won't let you, so you'll need to leave the uninstaller to finish before uninstalling a new program, the next program. Sometimes there might be a little bit of a delay. Say you uninstall a program and then it's finished uninstalling, but you can't uninstall another program for a little while after it's already finished the other one. So you might just need to wait a few seconds before you can uninstall the next one. Sometimes I've had it on my older computers where I've uninstalled something, it's completed, and a few minutes later it still won't let me uninstall the next thing, so that's kind of being a bit frustrating. But nevertheless, once you've uninstalled any program that you're never going to use again, or any program actually that you found in the task manager in the startup menu, any programs here that you saw and you were like, oh well, I don't know what that is, and Google says it's bad, or I'm never going to use it again, just uninstall it from here. It should be here. If it's not there, a good bet is to open the File Explorer, go into your computer, click on click on the local disk, and then in users program files, or one of these three, users or program files, you will generally find most of your software. So if I go into users, we've got me, and then we've got all my stuff, all my public stuff that anyone on this computer could use, well, can't use, sorry, the non-public stuff I should say, even. Then we've got all, you know, games folders and stuff like that. Then in this one we've got other games and other folders and stuff like that. These three folders are where most of your stuff is going to be, especially these two, if you're a gamer. So after we've uninstalled some programs, we want to be going over to the defragmentation place. Do a disk defrag. We can search for this defragmentation. You can definitely probably go over to the control panel somewhere, but I'm not too sure where. So just search for defrag, open that. It might take a few seconds to come up. Usually it's instant for me. Usually. My computer seems to be running slow today. Ironically enough, funnily enough. Whenever you're ready, champ, you can open that up whenever you want. Whenever you want. Oh, okay, I clicked the wrong thing. If you run the defrag, see, that's a command line. That might be because I've already defragmented the computer recently and it didn't find anything. But what you want to be doing is making sure, if you're on Windows 10, run the desktop app, or usually on Windows 8 or, you know, previous versions of Windows, you should be fine just going on disk defrag. So we want to defragment and optimize the drives, and then you'll get a bunch of a list of drives. Now your C drive, this will always be, well, currently, you know, unless you're watching sometime maybe, I don't know, 10 years in the future, I don't know, you'll be wanting to, maybe now actually with the release of SSDs. But anyway, the C drive is more likely than not where your storage is. I haven't actually worked on an SSD drive yet, so I wouldn't really know. But it is SSDs probably are still on the C drive. Either way, if you're watching this video, you're probably on a hard drive or a hybrid drive, and that is the C drive. So you want to analyze the C drive. Now, if you have a kid, or you know, you're a parent and you've got a kid who uses the computer, or you have an ISO file viewer. If you're a parent, your kid might have installed this just so he can, you know, do games on it, play some games, and it might take up a few of these drives, like C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive. You can pretty much just ignore that. The C drive is the one you want to be doing. If you've got if you know you've got two hard drives, maybe you've got an external hard drive, you'll have to find that here. It might be drive, USB drive or something like that. But anyway, what you want to do is you want to analyze it, and the analyzer will take, depending on your computer, maybe a few minutes. It takes me under a minute though. And then you want to optimize. Now you'll notice, once you've analyzed it, you'll notice that there's a certain percentage of defragmentation. The higher the percentage of fragmentation, the longer it will take. Now for me, at 40 minutes, it took maybe 14%. It took maybe an hour. I don't know how long it'll take. It might take all night, so it might be an idea to just keep the computer running all night. If you do want to ever keep your computer on overnight, you will want to make sure it isn't turning off. So in Windows 10, you want to be going over to lock screen, or you won't. You want to be going over to display settings. Yeah, Windows 10, right click the desktop, go over to display settings, or find the display settings in your control panel, where appearance and personalization, display right there. We're going to be going over to that and finding power and sleep. In Windows 8, 7 and 10 you can still go into the control panel or search for sleep, I think. Change when the PC sleeps, yeah. Control panel, display, power and sleep mode. Changing this for, you know, never, or maybe in a few hours, but you want to keep it at never, and that will mean that you can keep it on overnight while it optimizes the drive. Then you want to click optimize. It'll automatically analyze anyway, so you might not want to click that first. Just click optimize, and then it'll automatically defragmentate your drive, which is pretty decent. Now, if you haven't seen the guide yet and you want to know what defragmenting actually does, there's a picture on the guide, but here's the picture. Basically, this is the hard drive, this thing. This is the hard drive disk, and this is the, you know, the head, the disk reading head, and the disk reader will be about here. Now, in this image, the coloured files, the coloured bits are files and applications that are on the computer currently, and the grey bits are part of the computer, files on the computer that we've deleted and are no longer in use. So what's basically happening here is, here's the disk, here's the disk reader, and say he wants to read yellow, right? He's got to go, he can easily just find everything on yellow because it's all there. But then say the next thing he wants to do is go over to red, read something from the red files and folders and stuff like that. He's then got to change course dramatically, go all the way over here, or if he wants to go brown, he'd have to go all the way to the outer edges, which can, I don't know, can take a few seconds, and then he's got to gather all the information from over here, which it's not optimal. Now, here's a defragmented disk. You see there's no unused space. It's all nice and located and clean and all around the center. So the disk, you can say, oh, brown, it's all right here. Oh, then I want to go to pink. Oh, it's all right here. And it's all local to each other, so he doesn't have to go all the way around to the edges of the computer. Now, if you're on an older operating system, the longer you have an operating system, the more it's gonna be susceptible to corruption and things like that. So you don't really want to be, you don't want to have too much of an old computer. If you're using your computer regularly, say, and you're using a really old piece of software like Windows 95, it may be an idea to upgrade. If it's just for work, I wouldn't really bother. But if you're doing things like, I don't know, browsing YouTube, maybe Facebook, you might get a vast increase in performance. I don't know exactly how much you'd be getting. It might be not that much at all, but you will be getting a performance increase. Windows 10, if you upgrade anything to Windows 10, I believe Windows 10 has the best benchmarks and the best performance, but I'm not 100%. I do believe it is that, though. I have checked. So if you're on something like Windows 8 and you just like the look of Windows 8, I'd say stay with Windows 8. If you're on Windows 7, you like the look of Windows 7, stay with Windows 7. Windows Vista, that I know that to be a very slow operating system, but I also hear that it's been optimized, that it was optimized during the later stages, so it might be fine to keep that. But honestly, Windows 10 is a much better version. It's essentially like Vista, but it's an upgraded version. You know, the one thing I didn't like about Windows 8 was the big start screen menu. I much prefer this. In fact, I would have stayed with Windows Vista just for the search bar. Windows 7's alright as well for that. However, if you're running on if you're running an OS that came out before Vista, so if it's not Vista 7, 8 or 10, it might be an idea to upgrade to Windows 10 or a later operating system. Until the 26th of June, you can actually get Windows 10 for free. Windows 10's worth about £60 to £100. and you can get it for free if you have Windows 8. Windows 8 costs about £55. So if you wanted Windows 10 before June the 26th, you can just get Windows 8 and go on over to the site. There's a link on the video, on the guide. Sorry. Also, one of the last things you want to be doing is well, you won't really be doing anything, but new software. There was a conference with Bill Gates a while ago. I don't know how long exactly, but what he said will still ring true today. What he said was, sorry, let me just remember exactly what he was saying. Or I could just read it here. Yeah, newer software is created with a more powerful machine in mind. When a developer sets out to develop a new piece of software, he'll create it for a more powerful machine than what's currently available, because that more powerful machine will, once the software is released, that more powerful machine will be more normalized. It'll be advances in technology and that, it's relatively fast. The more powerful machine in, I don't know, 6 months they'll be going for will be the normal computer in 6 months. So a more powerful machine now, in about 6 months to a year, will be an alright, a high end but average computer, a higher end but average computer. So what you're going to be doing is, if you're on an older computer and there's new software coming out, it may be an idea to not buy the new software and keep with, say you've got Vegas Pro 13. You've got maybe Vegas Pro 10 or 11. Vegas Pro's movie editing software. Say you've got Vegas Pro 11 and you're on an older machine, it's not going to be a good idea to get Vegas Pro 13, because Vegas Pro 13 is built for computers with a higher processing power and RAM. Although if you do have the capability, if you do have a higher amount of RAM and processing power, yeah, get Vegas Pro 13. So keeping software updated on an older machine, it will be a bit of a resource hog when you're using it. One thing that you will want to keep updated are games and antivirus. If you don't update your games, well, first off, you're probably not going to be able to play them if it's an online game. If it's an offline game though, you'll still be getting graphics improvements, possibly frame rate improvements, possibly generally improvements to the game that will make it funner and make it more fun. Occasionally there might be a patch or an update that decreases your performance and your quality, but usually if it's those updates are updated over again, and you'll get your performance and your speed back. Dodgy updates are usually updated over, so it's not a dodgy update anymore. But antivirus, you will definitely want to keep updated. The way antivirus works is that new viruses are created every day, different types of viruses. So what antivirus companies do is they make kind of a list, they keep track, and they search for new types of viruses that come out, and they send it to you. They send it to your antivirus. So whenever you see an antivirus update, the main thing that's happening is you're getting new virus information, new information on viruses coming to the computer. It might be a lux change or performance change in there, but mainly it's going to be information on new viruses. So you will want to keep that updated. Thanks for watching. This has been a Freezer computing guide on how to speed up your computer. In future I might add annotations or create another video to help speed up your computer, but in future you might want to keep a lookout for keeping your computer in good physical condition. I'll also just very quickly go over the just in case you don't want to read the guide. One more thing is dust. Now dust can get into your computer quite easily really if you don't have a dust filter. Even if you do have a dust filter, a dust filter is a little filter. It's usually a square piece that will fit over any fan socket. So where your fans are, you might find that you've got a little bit of a it looks like a metal sheet, loads of holes in it. The smaller those holes are, the more dust it'll capture, but too small and it will wreck the heat. It will wreck the efficiency of the fan because heat is bad. If there's not enough space, then air can't get in. You want to be putting, you can YouTube video, there'll be another YouTube video to be able to teach you how to do this, but what you want to be doing, putting dust filters over any space, any really open spaces, like it usually is just the fan spaces. But dust can also get in through the sides of your computer in like little cracks and nooks and crevices, get in all around the computer. So what you want to be doing is, depending on how dusty your house is and if you have dust filters or not, getting a can of compressed air, and there's also a video in the guide. I may link that into this video, into the description of this video. But what you will want to be doing is spraying the insides of the case with compressed air, being quite careful not to damage any of the hardware in there, especially the fans, especially the CPU fan and the fans obviously. If there is too much dust, or usually there's a big globule of dust bunnies in the fans or whatever, your computer can overheat, it can overpower, it can shut down, it can overheat and shut down. It can really wreck the hardware inside. If the inside of a computer is too hot, it can either rapidly degrade the hardware, or it can, slowly over time, depending on how hot it is. If the insides of the case are reaching over 60 degrees to 100 degrees overall, that's probably not a good thing. Yeah. So what you want to be doing is spraying compressed air, getting rid of all the dust, making sure you've cleaned the fans relatively thoroughly. And after you've done that, it might be an idea to take a cotton swab, a dry cotton swab, or maybe a tissue. I wouldn't recommend a tissue because it's a bit too big, and it might, well, no, a tissue could work actually. Just make sure you avoid the motherboard and any actual hardware apart from the case. You can go over the fan, that's no problem. Just make sure you're not touching the RAM, the graphics card if you've got one, the motherboard, or the processor itself. Otherwise you risk damaging your hardware. I mean, do it if you want. You can water your system down if you want. I mean, go clean the motherboard itself. It won't do as much damage as throwing water over it, but I wouldn't advise it. You can do what you want with it, I just wouldn't advise it myself. Yeah, so thanks for watching this video, and I hope your computer is running much more smoothly now. If you've got any other tips or advice, just leave a link down in the comment section below, and I might just add it to the guide. Thank you very much.